We're the ones that, build the foundation. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for us, there won't be no them.
I don't think this is plugged in, actually. My name is Maria. I am the founder and functionally, I guess, the director of Mil Mundos. But we're collectively run.
My name is Pati. I am one of the co-founders of Mi Casa no es su casa, a political art project that was born in Bushwick, led by New Yorkers, native New Yorkers for New York City. We do anti-gentrification art, political art that speaks to power about the intersectional issues that affect our most marginalized communities in New York City. I grew up in Bushwick, and most of my friends have since moved, were displaced, even before I could articulate what was gentrification, and it's by design, obviously. The city and people who hold power use these kinds of academic terms to kind of keep these kinds of systemic oppression under wraps, I guess.
Even though I've lived in my apartment for 5 years, no one's really inviting me to think long-term about my neighborhood. No one is inviting anyone to think long-term about Bushwick, and that's not an accident.
It's more than a race issue, it's a class issue.
A lot of people that move in, and these people, that own these property, all they want is paper, and you gotta, sometimes worry about what you're gonna eat the next day, That's how it is.
I know that when I gotta eat, I better have money.
Obviously, race has to do with it, and the intersectionality of these issues, because oftentimes, and that's in Bushwick too, the population who ends up being displaced is of communities of color, right? All these different policies, housing policies like rezonings, are targeting communities of color because they are low income.
It's okay that university students and, queer communities and, immigrant communities and families that have lived in the neighborhood for 40 years all live in the same community. Those don't have to be separate communities, It's just a matter of being deliberate about it, being deliberate about the community that you form. For me, it's only gentrification if you are ignoring the communities that were already there, you appropriate the work that they've done, and you don't miss them at all.
I don't know, I felt for a long time like there was no hope, that kind of thing, like that, I can't do anything about it. I was very much like that, right? Because I didn't know what was happening. I was younger, obviously, and it wasn't like I was super politicized before. And even if I was politicized, I still didn't understand what was happening within my neighborhood and how it comes from systemic policies that cause systemic oppression. Ever since redlining down to, to the burnings in Bushwick, and then down to, again, this investing in the community, and later gentrification, and then rezoning. It's been this systemic oppression that has kept a lot of our communities of color in the low income brackets, right?
When you think about means and access, and you think about what does one do with that? You have to think really big. You have to think what could I possibly do with this time, with this opportunity? Because if you're broke and you're exhausted and you are not invited to think about your future, you don't necessarily have the means and the access to work on community. That work shouldn't fall on you, I was talking to my friend at work, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, how when we were growing up, people told us we could be whatever we want. He was like, yeah. I was like, you realize, especially in Black and brown communities, not everyone's told that. And there are entire schools where people are just trying to figure out something to do, and no one's expecting you to succeed. And somehow that was like a reminder, and I realized I think a lot of people need to be reminded of that, you know, that we need more of that, and that if you are out here not reminding people in disenfranchised neighborhoods that's your community, you can have what you want in your community, that's like a choice to not do that, you know? Like, it's so obvious all around you what's going on, you know? Like, I think you have to make a choice to take whatever means and agency you have and put it towards the world you want to live in. I wanted to challenge the neighborhood by opening a space that maybe at first would have an aesthetic that felt alienating, but I wanted to turn that aesthetic into something aspirational. I wanted to pose a question to the community through action of what if this was for you? Because I wanted the community to understand that they had a choice, that they don't have an ultimatum of giving up, that they have a choice to be mad and they have a choice to want more, that it makes sense to want more. I knew how to do it, and the way I wanted to try doing it was to literally take up space, which is something none of us are invited to do.
Art was weaponized against communities of color and communities of lower income immigrants here in the area to displace them. We thought it would be best for us to take back art, for New Yorkers to take back art for New York City, right? And for as people who grew up in this neighborhood and everything, when they'd see that kind of messaging, like we've had signs out there that say like, realtors equals vultures, or like, you know, things like that, or we've had like make racists afraid again, or something like that, right? People dig it because it's just like, it's very like in your face, and it's like, it's not, you're not saying the truth, right? It's just like, you know, we're very much, our language may be combative, but good art should always trigger emotion, right? People who grew up here, people who have been in the area, lifelong New Yorkers, are really into our work. Like people who have seen our work they're super supportive. We've always gotten messages from people. We're actually getting a lot of volunteers now because of the latest work we've been doing on the streets, like a lot of the actions we've had. We've had a lot of people just coming to us who want to get involved and get to work, you know, and really put down that work so that they can be a real ally to the communities that are most being impacted by the displacement. So I think in general we're being seen well in the neighborhood. Obviously there are gentrifiers who don't even like try to integrate to the community and don't really, you know, and we'll walk past you if we're doing like flyers and be like, you know, we've had days where we're like, oh, learn about the community you're in, you know, here, get a flyer, right? We've been, you know, targeting the politicians who have the power to stop the rezoning and everything, because, you know, they're not working for the interests of the community, so obviously they're not happy with our work. But you know, we're working on it though.
In a way, we've already been successful. She actually just walked by. There's a 6-year-old girl that lives 2 blocks down. Her name is Maita. We have one of her drawings framed in the other window. And last year, she had never had a bookstore in her neighborhood. And this year, she started going in every other day to the bookstore in her neighborhood. She loves it. And her parents come in here. And, you know, some people who are on our team got their family school supplies. They come in here all the time to say hi. She comes in to show us her nails that she got done with her mom. And the difference is now is if we had never opened and we had never tried this, I mean, even if this was just like an absolute train wreck in some other sense of a venture, if we had never opened this, she wouldn't have known either way, and she wouldn't have realized she had a choice.